Welcome into the LMU Women's Basketball Report for January 17th. I'm Scott rolling in with Coach Crystal Evans. Coach, since the last time we talked to you, you guys have played 4 games. Like we said, we didn't get to talk last week because of the postponed game where Queen's game was moved from Saturday to Monday, and you guys didn't get back and we're traveling and all that stuff. So, we are in here again today and get to talk about a still undefeated Lady Railsplitters team. So just talk about what the last 2 weeks has been like, particularly this last week. That was probably the toughest stretch of the schedule you guys have had yet, and to come out of that 15-0, you got to feel pretty good.
I do, and again, that just shows you what a great team we have as far as individuals and how hard they work and the leadership that we've got on this team. But I did feel I was really concerned about this past week, just because it threw us off schedule. We had to take a Saturday off, excuse me, and Sunday, obviously, we couldn't take off, which is normally our regular day off of the week. But we had to prepare for Queens. And then, we also left on Sunday. And we played Queens Monday night. I felt like that was a hard game. And, and then we ended up staying in Charlotte that night. We wanted to watch the boys' team and support them. And so we stayed at Queens Monday night, and then we drove to Anderson on Tuesday and stayed overnight then. But that's just totally off schedule for us, and I was just really worried that our focus wasn't going to be there. And but I was wrong, and happy to say that I was wrong. And but the one thing as far as the game goes, I just felt like Anderson's game was so physical, and they were so excited, and the energy that they brought to that game was just, over the top, and it was definitely really exciting. And if I was a fan, I'm sure I would have enjoyed it. But just being a coach, they gave us everything we could ever want and more. And I thought JB had them, really well prepared for us, and I felt like they were calling out our plays, and so I was just real excited, again, to be able to leave that gym with the victory. It's hard to play there, and I have never won there since I've been here at LMU. So again, I was excited for that, and again, I can't brag on our team enough. Scott, they fought so hard, and they've just found a way to win that game.
Yeah, well, and then I want to focus a little bit on the Anderson game a little bit more. Obviously, that was probably billed as the toughest game you guys had and since the Lander game earlier in the season. You guys coming in 13-0, 8-0 in sack play. They were sitting at 10-2 and 8-1 in sack play, or 7-1 in sack play. Tough place to play, like you said, and you guys really had to kind of grind it out. 8 ties, 6 lead changes, but really the difference came down to rebounding.
Yes.
A couple outstanding performances, particularly Josie Harding, again, 18 points, 23 rebounds. She continues to do that. So just kind of what really, especially on just one day of preparation after that hard-fought game at Queens, what really allowed you guys to kind of get past Anderson?
Well, I just think, again, just like you said, rebounding, that's something that we focus on every game. We want to out-rebound our opponent, and that's, something that's a goal of ours. And thus far we've really done a good job on the boards. But I just think that too, these games have taught us that, I'll give you an example, and to go back to the Queens game, Ross Mathis really stepped up in that game. And honestly, if we didn't have her, we wouldn't had a chance to even win that game at Queens. And then you've got Josie that stepped up against Anderson, and again you've got some constant play or consistent play from Shay Coker and Megan Pittman and Carson Sims and Sydney Anderson and those sort of things. But each night it's been somebody different that has made a huge factor on the game. And that's something I'm very thankful for, because again, it just lets you know how deep we are on our bench and how many different weapons we really do have. But against Anderson, it was Josie's night. They were, the second Megan got the ball, they were doubling her. Literally. And Josie, and again, that didn't mean that Josie had it easy, because she definitely didn't. But they were definitely trying to focus on Josie and keeping her off the boards. But Josie really does a good job of not allowing herself to get boxed out, and it's just a lot of players don't do that, and we're very fortunate to have Josie. And what I mean by that is, once you're crashing the boards and your opponent tries to make contact or box you out, most girls stop right there. Josie doesn't. Josie spins off pressure. She keeps on moving. Like if you keep her off the board, then daggone it, you're going to be tired because she's going to make you work. And, we needed every single one of those 23 rebounds. And, I'm just thankful that she had the game she did.
Well, then it didn't get any easier for you. You had to turn around 2 days later and host Catawba here. They were coming in with a 7-2 sack record. Obviously having a very good season, and they gave you a really good shot here too. And they gave you about all you wanted. Bree Johnson gets 32 points, and a game where there's 22 lead changes, even more so in the Anderson game. Really hard to pick out exactly what it was that allowed you guys to get past them. The numbers were so similar, but it was just kind of that grit and grind that you guys have been able to do sometimes this year. So what allowed you to get past Catawba?
Well, I think Anderson was a very physical game. And, I actually left that game telling the girls, man, this is about the most physical that we've had to face all season. And then I was totally wrong because then we came into Catawba and it just went to a different level. They've got some very athletic post players. Josie was on the ground a good part of the game. Gerda got her face split open. She caught an elbow and got her head split open. And, it was very physical. And what I was telling our team that I really feel like we actually grabbed a hold of in the fourth quarter, but when teams are being physical, we can't allow them to rush us, or we can't allow our emotions, or for us to lose composure, basically. And I felt like at times we really did, and and that's a discussion we even had at halftime. We were 2 for 6 from the free throw line. We're a pretty good free throw shooting team, but we get up to the line, we're rushing our free throws. I felt like when we got the ball inside at all, we were rushing it. Shots that we normally knock down, we weren't hitting against Catawba. And again, it's not, I felt like it was us. Just because we're getting, pushed, and again, we were being physical too, so it wasn't one-sided. And, I just felt like we carried it over into our decision making. I felt like we had some really poor turnovers. Catawba was pressing us, and we were throwing people into trap zones, which, that's, why would you throw it to them where they're going to get trapped? Again, this is just stuff that we were doing wrong. And I feel like, again, it was just it was from the physicality of the game. And starting in the fourth quarter, we played hard. I don't want to come off like we didn't play hard. We played extremely hard, but we played hard from the neck down. And I felt like in the fourth quarter we really played smart, and I think that was what allowed us to pull away with the victory.
I think something that has really become evident this past week, particularly maybe the last 2 weeks, is just how many different ways your team can win at this point. We didn't talk much about the Mars Hill game, but a 44-point win here, and one where you exploded offensively. Just about everything went right on both sides of the floor. But then if you really look at the numbers against a team like Anderson, things weren't great offensively against Anderson. But how nice is that to be able to see how many different ways your team has been able to win this season?
No, it's great. Again, when you have a team that they're literally finding a way, and it's a different way. The last couple of games to win, it's definitely encouraging. But one thing that I'm most encouraged about is Anderson gave us a lot of things that we need to work on, and so did Catawba. And when you can leave games, and I try to tell people that all the time. Just because our record is perfect doesn't mean that our play is. We have a lot more that we can just build on and improve, and and we need to, because after tomorrow's game, after we face Tusculum, we're starting everybody over again. And hopefully, the way that any coach in our conference wants is they want a better team the second time you face them than they were the first time. And I keep telling them we have to be that better team too. We can't stay where we're at. We can't be complacent, and we got to continue to grow. And I'm very thankful that we had those games, because again, it allowed us to go back to the drawing board, our coaching staff, and change some things and tweak some things. And sometimes when things are going well, you don't really know which direction to work on. Well, I saw a lot of a lot of weaknesses in both games, and hopefully the next time we play them, those weaknesses won't be there.
Let's talk about this week upcoming a little bit. 2 more road trips. This is a really road-heavy stretch for you. Your next 5 are on the road. So you already mentioned the Tusculum game, and then that'll be once you go to Tusculum on Wednesday night, you'll be halfway done with the conference
Yes.
schedule. Tusculum, a team who's really struggled this year on paper, 3-11, 2-8 in conference play. But also it's that in-state rivalry.
Right.
It's the different intensity that brings to the game. So and being on the road also throws another kind of unknown variable into the equation. So talk about the Pioneers a little bit.
Well, I don't think any game at this point is going to be easy. I mean, I just feel like what team wouldn't want to beat the undefeated team? I mean, anytime that we played an undefeated team last year, if we play an undefeated team this year, we want to be the ones to, stop that streak. And, so again, there's always going to be some energy and excitement around that. I think Tusculum is going to, come out ready to win and not expect anything less. And they, always play well. Matter of fact, last year at Tusculum, it was really Rachel Griffin and Emily Griffin that stepped up, and they were a big part of the reason why we won at their place last year. Matter of fact, they had us down double digits, and we started pressing, and those twins just they got after it and got us some really much needed steals, and we got back in the game. We fought back. We ended up winning, but it's never, you just don't go into anybody in this conference, and think you're going to roll over them. I mean, the teams are just too good. And any given night, it's, you got teams that are just hitting unbelievable shots. I mean, just take it back to Catawba. I mean, Catawba is a good shooting team and not taking anything away from them, but I swear I felt like they were on like 100% for the first half. I was just sitting there thinking they didn't miss anything. And obviously, I'm exaggerating, but when I got the stats, but I honestly felt like at halftime, I was like, man, they haven't missed. And, people have those type of games. And even, Mars Hill in the first half, I felt like they were just hitting all kinds of different threes. So I don't expect anything less from Tusculum. I'm sure that they're going to be ready for us, and it's going to be, a hard game, and they're going to give us their best shot. And, I'm just hoping that we play well enough that we can pull away with the victory.
And then obviously the Tusculum trip is probably one of the easiest trips you make of the year, that and Carson Newman. So, but then you get one of the most difficult trips you make of the year after all the travel and all the different, mess with last week. You have to go to Coker. Start the second half of the conference schedule, like we said. You won by 21 points here when we played them, and they're a team that's also struggled a little bit. But obviously going to Hartsville and making that long trip is another tough test, especially after coming over what's probably going to be a pretty tough game at Tusculum.
Well, it's just it's a lot of factors. I mean, you're sitting there and you're on a bus for 6 hours. You've got players like Megan Pittman and Josie and Harding and Sydney Anderson and Carson Sims. I mean, 4 of my starters that. That's not beneficial to them. Sitting for too long, they've all got different injuries and different ailments, and so again, it's trying to basically schedule things to give them enough rest. So we're gonna leave pretty early in the morning and get practice in, and hopefully get them to the hotel so they can get loose and stretched and just be ready to go the next day. And I mean, it's just, again, hopefully we have some good movies on the bus and have an enjoyable time, because there's nothing else you can do, so you might as well enjoy your teammates during that long trip. But, it is what it is. I think it's going to be a good trip. I hope we get enough rest so that we come out ready to play on Saturday. And I guarantee that Coker is going to be a better team the second go around than they were the first go around, and we have to make sure that we are as well. But again, this week I'm excited. Nobody enjoys being on the road, but I keep telling the girls, our focus has to be, no matter what gym we're in, we need to act like we take ownership of it. We need to come out and be the aggressor, and we need to again have good mechanics in our shots. Work the ball around, and You know, and the energy has to be there. The energy has to be there from the people on the floor, and the energy has to be there from the kids on the bench. And, you know, we got to be excited about every game. We can't look past anybody.